Howdy class, and welcome back to the world of arithmetic. As you can see on the board, we're going to be reviewing some things with our area and perimeter that we've been learning about, and also some facts here that we're memorizing. Before we do that though, I noticed on your last quiz that we had a few mix-ups on some of these. Some of you did perfectly fine, but not everyone. I want to make sure that we've got these down, that we know what these are called. So parallel lines, what are parallel lines? They're lines that run like that, right? Side by side, there's arrows on the end. They're called parallel lines. So don't forget that. And what about this one? What is that called? Did you say intersecting lines? Good, intersecting lines. That's simply a simple closed curve. That can be any shape, a polygon. Now, later on you'll learn the one, how many sides there's a particular name for, but for now, it's just called a polygon, which is any shape made up of line segments. Well, what is a line segment? A line segment is part of a line. I'm going through here to see if I can find it out of my stack. Here we go. Line segment. There's a dot on both ends. It's called a line segment. Don't forget that one. What's it called? Line segment. Say it. Perpendicular lines that form 90-degree angles. Congruent angles, they are the same. Did you say that one? What's that one? Right angle. Now most of you got that one because it forms a right angle. So that forms the box there. You can see it. That means it's perfectly straight up and out that way. Or it could be, that way as well. Array. Array is like a line, but there's a point on the end. There's a point where it starts, and then it continues on for as long as you want it to go in any direction. Whereas just a line, regular line, that we'll get to, here we go, here, goes indefinitely in either direction. So do you see the difference between ray and line? So know the difference. And of course, we simply call that a point. In money, we call it a decimal point, right? And changing to a fraction to decimal, we have a decimal point. The point is the dot, which, by the way, this point in geometry could refer to more than just money. It could refer to more than 35.6 or whatever. It can also refer to a vertex, which is a point, any point on a shape where there'll be a dot drawn. So the shape we had just talked about with the ray, for example, that dot is the point upon which it begins, and the line from there goes in that direction. Angle. Angle. Again, two rays make an angle. Now here's some we missed on our quiz. This is called a rhombus. Rhombus. What is this called? Parallelogram. Parallelogram. Now look at those. Some were calling a rhombus a parallelogram. Some were calling a parallelogram a rhombus. Some were calling a parallelogram a trapezoid. Some were calling a trapezoid a parallelogram. And some were calling both the parallelogram and the trapezoid the parallelogram. So let's look at these. All right. So the parallelogram has two sides that are longer and two that are shorter. Can you see that the top and bottom are longer than the sides? That's a parallelogram. Rhombus, they're all equal. So it's like a slanted square, right? Whereas a parallelogram is like a slanted rectangle, you see? So a rhombus is to a square as a parallelogram is to a rectangle, see? But the lines are slanted, not straight up or straight out. So now, what's a trapezoid? Look at a trapezoid, look. A parallelogram is very different than a trapezoid, right? Parallelogram, let's look at the parallelogram first. These sides go that way, these sides go that way at the same angle. They're the same angle, all right? And they're the same length. From here to here is the same length as from here to here. Now you might not think they are the same length perhaps, but they are, because this one starts up here. It stops shorter though, doesn't it? But this one started later, right? They're the same length. So they're parallelogram. Whereas a trapezoid, look, it's different. See, this one's going straight down, right? And over. And then it just keeps going. And then there's an angle there. So if you drew a line right here, you'd have sort of a, looks like some kind of rectangle. And then you'd have a triangle on the end of it, wouldn't you? See? Trapezoid. Parallelogram just has two, it has four sides, but only two different lengths. These two are the same, and these two are the same. These two are the same, and these two are the same. Whereas a trapezoid, let's look. We have these two that are the same direction, but this one and this one are not the same. See how that's a different angle? And that one's just straight down that way, right? That one's straight down. This one's longer than that one. And then that one's a completely different angle in length. So they're all different lengths, looks like to me. So different, all right? The trapezoid's the weird one. So just remember that, it's the weird one. And remember, trapezoid, okay? Hopefully you'll get that and you'll remember these. You know, that's a rectangle, that's a circle, that's a triangle. Good. That's a square. Square, perfectly square. There. Okay, so as long as you remember those, you'll do fine and do a great job with your geometry. Now here's some formulas and some things we want to remember. First of all, the boiling point of water Fahrenheit is 212 degrees. Good job. What is the freezing point of water Fahrenheit? It is 32 degrees. What about the boiling point of water Celsius? 100 degrees. Is that what you said? And the freezing point of water Celsius is 0 degrees. What about the normal body temperature Fahrenheit? 98.6, did you say it? And what about the normal body temperature on the Celsius scale? What is it? 37, that's an odd number on that one, but 37 degrees. Now, what is the measurement, right, of the distance around? It's called what? Perimeter. Perimeter measures the distance around an object, right? If I wanted to build a fence and figure out how much fencing would I need to go all the way around my yard, I would be using perimeter to figure that out. Have you heard someone say, the perimeter of the property means distance all the way around it? But if I wanted to know how much tile to lay on the floor, I had square tiles, I would be solving the area, everything inside the bathroom or the kitchen or in your house somewhere. You see, that's the area, that's everything inside. Versus around, the outside edge is perimeter. So there's area and perimeter. So know the difference between area and perimeter. So measuring the amount inside is what? Area. All right? Measuring the distance around or on the outside, perimeter. Right? Now we're going to do our formulas. The perimeter of a rectangle is what? P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. You need to memorize that and make a card for it and memorize it. What about the perimeter of a square? The perimeter of the square, 4 times S. P equals 4 times S. What about the area of a rectangle? The area of a rectangle, what is that? A equals length times width. And memorize that. Are you saying them? Are you saying them? What is the area of a square? Formula. A equals side times side. Okay? And I have them on the board right here too. Look. Can you see that? The perimeter, you simply add the sides. If this is a square, you add the sides to find perimeter. Or if it's a rectangle, right? You're adding the sides, but we're using these formulas. For a rectangle, P equals 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. I want you to memorize that. That's for solving a rectangle. The perimeter of a square is simply 4 times S. Whatever this side is, 4 times because there's 4 sides. And those are the perimeter formulas. Then there are the area formulas. A, or area, equals length times the width. We just went over that. Area is the length times the width. That is for a rectangle. The length times the width. Area. Memorize that for solving the area, the inside of it. Area of a square. We take the side and multiply it times the side times the side to get the area of a square. So there's 4 formulas for you to memorize. And we did a triangle earlier, it was just A plus B plus C, one side plus the next side plus the next side. That's all you can do for triangles. All right, won't worry so much about triangle. You were to memorize this. 1 square yard equals 9 square feet. Let's memorize it. 1 square yard equals 9 square feet. Say it again. 1 square yard equals 9 square feet. Say it again, nice and loud. I know you want to be outside, but come on. 1 square yard equals 9 square feet. 1 square foot equals 144 square inches. 1 square foot equals 144 square inches. Memorize that one today if you haven't. Just think of, I know how many inches are in a foot, 12. 12 times 12 is 144. So when it says square, you do the square of it. You're squaring it. You're multiplying it times itself. When you square feet, how many feet in a yard? 3. What's 3 times 3? 9. When you square something, you multiply it times itself. That number times itself to get the square of it. Now I want to draw your attention to what's written on the board right here. I got a piece of chalk right here. Excuse me. Let's find it. All right, let's look on the board right here. 9/4. Some of us have missed this on our quiz. 9/4. Remember, that's improper. So we need to make it proper by changing it to a what? a whole or mixed number. Divide the denominator into the numerator to get that. 9/4 would be what? 4 goes into 9 how many times? 2. 2 times, how much is left over? 1. Because 1 more will make 9, right? 4 goes into 9 2 times, that's 8. 1 more will make 9. So we have 1, and then the denominator stays the same, right? So we have 2 and 1/4. 2 and 1/4. That's a mixed number now, isn't it? So whenever it's improper, don't always look, is it proper or improper? If it says 4/9, that's very different. And we don't have to do anything to that, right? It's already, and it's reduced as far as it can go as well. 17/8, remember, it's improper. Divide the denominator into the numerator. 8 goes into 17, again, 2 times. 2 times would be 16, right? 8 goes into 2 8s would be 16, right? And then there's one more, once again, 1 for the numerator and an 8 for the denominator, right? And so we have 2 and 1/8. And I'm just going to circle that. That's what would be our answer. I know we know how to do this, but some of us have missed this. So maybe it's just pausing and really thinking about what we're doing and making sure we've got it right. All right, multiplying fractions. 4/9 times 16. First, we need to make them all fractions. And to make a whole number a fraction, we just put a 1 under it, don't we? Now they're all fractions. Can we cross multiply? Can we cancel? Can we cancel here? Anything? And so, can 9 go into 16? No. Can anything go into 3? Can 3 go? Can 3 go into both of those? Okay, so sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. So just multiply 4 times 16 and get the answer. Again, with that being a number that you might not have memorized in your head, you can always just 6 times 4 is 24. 4, 5, 6, 64 over 9. That's improper. So we got to do the same thing. 9 times what is close to 64? 9 times what? Go through your 9 times tables till you get to it. What's 9 times 5? What's 9 times 6? 54. Okay, what's 9 times 7? Oh, 9 times 7 is 63. Okay, so it can go 7 times without going over. Well, how many more would make 64? If we're at 63, 1 more makes 64. So 1 is the numerator, and the denominator, of course, is the 9. And that's how you do those. Don't forget how to do those. Then I had some of you missing some of these with the decimal points. Sometimes just not putting the decimal point or forgetting it. If it's money, forgetting the dollar sign. Don't forget the dollar sign. In this case, it's not money, but again, make sure you line up your decimal and add correctly. You just add it. I'm not sure. Maybe you just rushed, or it was probably just a careless error. I think you know how to do it, so just be careful with these. 8 plus 7 is what? So there's 15, carry the 1. Don't forget to add the one you carried. Maybe that's what it was. 9 plus, that's 10 plus 5 is 15, right? Carry your 1. Don't forget to carry your 1. And 1 plus 5, 6 plus 6, 12. Carry your 1. 1 plus 2, 3 plus 3, 6. Okay? And that's got it. All right. That here's for the other problem, kind of bunched up there together, but 625.5 would be the answer. So again, it's all about just being careful, looking carefully at your work on your page today. Lesson 163, you will see, let's see, the area and perimeter review, and then the first section, A through F, the what of a rectangle is found by multiplying the length. The answer's up here. Which formula multiplies the length? And so you need to know that is a perimeter or area. Letter B, the what of a rectangle is found by adding the side. What adds the sides together? Is that area or perimeter? Write it in the blank. Letter C, the formula for the perimeter of a rectangle, I just told you the answer. What is it? The perimeter of a rectangle is what? The length times the width. See if you can do that one. I just said it. Letter D, the formula for what of a rectangle is the length times the width. Is it area or perimeter? And so the answer is going to be area or perimeter on all of those. See if you can figure it out and do section 1. Then for section 2 and 3, you're doing area and perimeter problems. Remember, when you solve area and perimeter, you write the formula, and then as you go down, P equals, and then solve, and then plug the numbers in, and just keep your equal sign coming down, you know, lining up everything right. Same with area. Look at the directions carefully. What shape is it that you're solving for? First, you need to figure out, is it a square or is it a rectangle I'm solving for? Is it area or is it perimeter? And make sure you choose the correct formula for doing that one, and don't accidentally put the formula for area when it's perimeter. That you could accidentally do that if you're not thinking. So make sure you are doing that correctly, and do a super job. All right, do the length and the width and the yard or the feet or whatever unit, put unit. And remember, when you're solving area, don't forget to put square feet at the end, square yards at the end, or inches or whatever it is you're solving for. And again, I want to see that you're getting the correct answer for those, because guess what? Welcome to 5th grade very soon, and you will need to know those. So do a good job with that. Again, students, parents, if there's any particular problem you want me to go over, again, please let me know and I will do that for you. Do your work. Don't forget your place value: ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000s, right? Perimeter, add up the sides and get the answer. Subtracting or adding fractions, remember to find that common denominator or least common multiple to put it in the bottom of your fraction, the denominator, right? And then solve it. And borrowing a whole number and all of those types of things. Don't forget how to do those. Those are really important for 5th grade. I would say a very key component for 5th grade is adding and subtracting fractions, and when they're not the same numerator, having to figure out those fractions. Very important to know. So make sure you know how to do those, and don't forget how to do them. Do your best to the very end. There's a song that says, "Hold on a little longer, my friend. Hold on a little longer and don't give in. Jesus has promised his love to the end. Hold on a little longer, my friend." We're almost done, but hold on a little longer. The test of your character is to keep on doing what you need to do, being faithful, doing your work, turning it in, and God will bless you for your faithfulness. So until next time, you take care, do a super job on your paper today, and be looking for the next video. Bye for now.